How do I know if the market loves me? It hits my levels every day. Okay, so don't quit your day job, Ed. Just as an aside, a little sidebar here. Why is it that when I start to do a YouTube video, I have to clear my throat and I get the hiccups and I have to cough, and before that, nothing happens. I'm totally fine. Anyway, see if I can get through this. All right. I called out a level right up here about 43.56, 43.59, right up in here at the top. How did I know it was going to go up there? Well, let me show you guys a little trick. You're going to love this, and the market's going to love you too, or maybe not. But anyway, so I have mentioned this before, that the London session drives the day session, RTH. Well, it doesn't mean that today's London session drove it. The bottom tends to be resistance, and the top tends to be support, unless you flip it around. You know, support becomes resistance, sort of thing. And you saw this yesterday. See what happened Monday? Monday, the bottom of London was the top of today's London market. And then what happened? It came back down. Really interesting. Look at that Asian market. Right down, almost down there to the top of the Asian market. Almost exactly to the tick. RTH low and Asian high was almost exactly the same. So these markets, that's why I put these sessions on here, because these sessions drive each other. It's really interesting to see. Okay, but let's get back to today. How did I know that this was going to come back up here, right? Up in this area. Well, if you scroll back a little bit, let's go look for a London session that is above. We're looking at something above here, right? Because there was your there's your resistance area up in here. Well, it broke through that resistance area, right? So where's it going to go? Well, let's go scroll back and see if we can find. I don't like to go back any more than 7 days, and you really don't need to. This is back from Thursdays. Thursday's the bottom of the London session on Thursday. See where that went right there? The bottom of that London session right there, and I'll scroll across so you can see it. There. Bottom of the London session was at 43.57.75. It went 2 points beyond that and turned around and went like a scared rabbit. So between 57 and 59, you figure the big institutions are starting to get out of their positions. They're starting to scale out, and you should probably start scaling out of your position too. So why did I not go back to Wednesdays right there? Well, because Thursdays was number one, it was closer. Number two, it's sitting right there. Okay, so you want to watch that. It blew past that one, blew past 52.75. What's the next one? There, the next resistance level would be 57.75 at the London session, the low of the London session. You know, support becomes resistance type thing, right? So we came back up here. What happened? Came to 43.59.75. 2 points beyond that, and bam, sold off. So you had like, what'd you take? 8 ticks of heat. You would have taken like 8 ticks of heat before that turnaround, which is probably about what you took right there. That was the top of the. That would have been the top of the Asian session right there. So that's about 8 ticks or so right in there, which is that's what you would have taken. But I don't like to use the Asian session. Sometimes the Asian session will play off the RTH for highs and lows, but I like to use the London session because it's a little bit more reliable. Now, when I will figure this out, because I've been a friend of mine, Pat H, and I have been looking at this since like 2015, 2016, about how each previous session drives whatever that whatever the next session is. Like the Asian session will drive London, London will drive RTH, and you can see right here what happened. We came down to the Asian session. The Asian session was above RTH. The low was above RTH for Monday, and then the Asian session. Then the London session was above. The London low was above the Asian low. So you knew we were going to go up. Like right here, for example, same thing. Same thing you can see here. Say, for example, here's RTH, the London high, RTH high. London high is lower. Asian high is lower. Then London high is lower. And here we go. We sold off, and people are going, how did you know? People were calling for the long, and I go, it's not going long, guys. It's not going long. Well, how do you know? Well, here's how I know. And all you gotta do is you look at these big blocks. Just go back through the charts and look at these big blocks and see just how much money you guys could have made just by paying attention to these Asian high and especially London high, London low. If you're just gonna trade RTH, you can pay attention to London. If you're gonna trade, the entire Globex session, just pay attention to the Asian. Pay attention to the Asian session. So came down here, retested this level. I think there was a value area low down here somewhere. I turned everything off just so I didn't clutter up your charts. I just wanted to show you guys just the blocks. RTH is purple, Asian is cyan, and then the London session would be yellow. And you can see how those are. Driven. So I expect for the Asian market, of course, I don't expect for them to come back up here. I expect for them to stay the Asian session high just like it did there. I expect the Asian session high to maybe try to retest this. Maybe. I don't have VWAP. I don't have anything else on this chart, so I can't really tell you. I can't prognosticate. I can't look at that and make an educated guess as to where that's going to go. But just from the blocks, just from the charts, just from the sessions, I would expect that to. I expect RTH. I would expect the Asians to drive it up a little bit and then sell it off, and then we may go into another sell cycle, short and for the Asian and then for the London session. But as you see. Look at this. We're making higher lows per session, right? Higher. That was almost equal, but I think that was a higher low. Then this is a higher low from these guys. This is a higher low from this guy. This is a higher low from this guy. This is a higher low from this guy. So I expect to see a little bit of a sell-off, but I think we've seen the bottom of the market for the moment. For probably the next few days now. I don't like making long-term prognostications. I like just doing this day by day, just simply because it's a little hard to do. So, and I'm not. My charts are not set up for the long-term stuff. I know guys like VWAP Trader 1 and some of these other guys, Smash Lido and some of these other guys are set up for looking at the longer term. But since I'm a day trader, I'm not a swing trader. I just want to look at the day and say, okay, fine, where would likely be the highs and lows of the day? So, anyway, I hope this was enjoyable. I hope this was informative. Pay attention to the London session. Pay attention to Globex. I tell people, please do not. You don't have to trade it. You don't have to trade Globex. Please do not ignore Globex. Okay? Don't ignore the Asian session. Don't ignore the London session. I think I've shown you guys in this video exactly why not to ignore it. Don't ignore these levels. Don't ignore this stuff. Anyway, see you later. Have fun. And I'm off to the store. I got to do some shopping. See y'all.